Office Manager Diana Brew is suing her neighbor, homemaker Kathleen Silverberg, for the cost of a bike and harassment. Diana claims Kathleen's boys pick on her son.
Quiet in the courtroom, please. Yeah, this is case number 171 on the calendar in the matter of Brew versus Silverberg. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Young men, have seats, please.
Mrs. Brew, according to what I read here, it is your claim that Miss Silverberg's son, one of her sons, would that be you? How'd I know that? One of Miss Silverberg's sons has been harassing your son and damaged his bike.
Correct.
And after he damaged the bike, he said to him, "Give me the brakes off of your bike, because I need them for my bike."
That was another son.
Which son did that?
Brian, the middle
Which
son.
one's Brian? That's you. So after the big one...
The little one, Mark, did the actual damage of the bike.
What did this one do?
He damaged a first bike.
And then the little one damaged the second bike?
Yes, that we bought to replace the first one.
And this one came and took the brakes?
Yes.
Stand up here, all three of you. All three of you, come on. What's your name?
Tom.
How old are you, Tom?
13.
You pick on him?
Yes.
Why?
Because I really don't like him.
You didn't like him, why?
Because he acted kind of weird and,
So he's weird?
yeah.
Tell me, did he ever do anything weird to you, Tom? Or he just acts weird?
Yeah, he acts really weird.
Give me an example of how he acts weird, Tom.
He keeps saying stuff about abducting little kids, like my brother right here.
Like, what did he say?
He says, "I'm going to abduct your little brother," and then he starts taunting me, so I chase him away.
Tell me how he's taunting you.
He starts, like, riding off toward the direction where he was last seen playing or something like that on his bike.
Now, what did you do to his bicycle? Look at me. What did you do to his bicycle? The first one that he had.
That was not me. That was a kid named Brandon.
But you were there.
Yeah.
So you must have seen it.
Yeah.
Well, tell me what this kid did to the bicycle.
Well, it really all started out that we were all playing a game called Bumper Cars on Bikes, where you just run around, run into each other with bikes. And in the end, it ended up that the tire couldn't really move very well. So
whose tire?
The tire on the bike that Brandon was riding. That was his bike. Or supposedly his bike.
Why was Brandon riding his bike?
Because Devin said he could have it.
Is that right?
No.
Did they just take it from you?
Stand
up. Go ahead.
I let Brandon borrow it so he could go get water at Dairy Queen. And then when I was coming over to see what they were doing, Brandon was jumping on it, and I said, "Get off the bike," and they all ran away. And then his brother came over, and we looked at the bike, and they took off the front wheel.
Who took off the front wheel?
Brandon did. And first thing they did to the bike, they picked it up by the chain and swung it around. And then they...
Who did that?
Brandon did.
So Brandon did. I don't hear he doing anything. Look at me. Miss Brew, don't speak to him. I'm speaking to him. So far I didn't hear that he did anything.
Right. He didn't do anything.
He didn't?
No. Brandon was the one who really did it. I saw Brandon with my own eyes.
Now, what happened with the second bike?
I was riding my bike, and then I stopped to talk to my friend Lewis, and then Mark came riding up on Brian's bike, and he kept ramming it into the frame.
Mark?
Yeah.
Raise your hand, Mark. How old are you, Mark?
7.
Why were you ramming into his bicycle, Mark?
I wasn't.
Who was?
Nobody.
Nobody. You never rammed into his bicycle?
No.
He says he didn't?
He did, because I saw, and he, kept riding up really fast, and then he kept, hitting the frame, and I told him to stop a couple times, and he wouldn't.
And then what happened?
And then it got bent, it pushed in, and Lewis said he could fix it, but I told my mom, and she said no.
And then what happened with the brakes?
Well, Brian came over.
Who's Brian? When?
2 days or 3 days after it happened, and then he said, "I wanted to know if I could look at your brakes and see what happened." And I told him that his brother rammed into my frame and bent it, and he said, "Can I have your brakes?" And I said no, and I said no again after he said the same question. Then he used a tool, and then he got off the brakes, and then...
Why'd you push him away? You're bigger than he is.
I tried. I said no to him 5 times.
I don't believe you. He had to get off his bike, get the tools, work on the brakes, take the brakes off, and during that time you go into your mother and you say, "Somebody's stealing the brakes off my bike."
My mom was at work that day.
Who was home?
No one was.
My sister is next door.
Yeah.
So why didn't you go next door?
Well, she wasn't home when I was going over to tell her.
What happened with the brakes? Look at me.
I came over to his house. Something was wrong with his bike. He asked me if I would work on it. I messed around with it a little bit, adjusting the wheel back and forth. And I go, oh, I found the problem. Your brakes are rubbing, so your bike slows down every time the wheel or the rim bends. And he goes, oh, and I go, can I have your brakes? And
Why would you want his brakes?
Because the bike that I had at that time needed the same type of brakes that he had.
Well, why would you ask him for his brakes if all his brakes had to do was be fixed?
It wasn't the brakes, it was the back rim.
Did he tell you how the rim got bent?
Yes.
What did he say?
He said that Mark ran into it multiple times with my bike.
Right.
So I said...
Did you believe him when he said that to you?
Sort of yes and sort of no.
What does that mean, sort of yes and sort of no?
Because sometimes he lies about what my little brother does, and sometimes he tells the truth.
So you wanted the brakes, and you just said, so give me the brakes. They don't work on your bike, give them to me.
No, I said, could I please have your brakes? He didn't answer me the first time. I said it the second time, he didn't answer. The third time, he says, okay. So I took him off his bike and put him on mine. I rode around in the alley for a couple of minutes. And I go, I'm going to go to my friend's house. He goes, okay. And I just rode over to my friend's house. And then I came back like 5 or 6 hours later, and I found out from my mom that he said that I had walked into his backyard and stolen the brakes.
You did?
No.
Yeah, you did.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Do you ever hear your older brother talk about him?
Yeah.
What does he say about him?
He says that he's a butthole, a crackhead, a D-head.
You see where it's all coming from?
And later today,
Where did you steal this car?
Connecticut,
And where do you live?
Massachusetts.
Didn't they have cars in Massachusetts, Daniel?
Yeah.
Now, I say that because your bail was higher.
Correct.
So in the future, you understand where you have to do business.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Diana Brew claims neighbor Kathleen Silverberg's sons terrorize her boy. She is suing for the cost of her son's damaged bike.
You and your brothers, for some reason, are torturing this young man. I don't know why. Because I don't believe you. Do you understand, young man? I don't believe that you didn't hit his bike. I believe you did that. And I believe you're fibbing to me. Do we understand each other? And just because your brother over here can be a bully doesn't mean that you can be a bully. Do you understand? Now, if he asked you to come by and fix his bike, what kind of nice person goes over and says, well, I can't fix your bike, but I need brakes just like yours. Can I have them? As long as my brother bent your bike out of shape, give me the brakes. I need them for me. You better have a talk with your boys.
I have been.
Well, you're evidently not getting through to them.
But Devin even admitted in front of another adult to me that he lied to his mother about the brakes, that he had given them to Brian.
Your sons are torturing him. Do you understand it?
Yes, and he tortures my sons.
See how many there are there?
Yes.
You see, over here?
Yes.
This one doesn't like him because he's weird. Your two younger sons take their cue from Tom. What?
Oh, would you like anyone very much if they said they were going to go abduct your little brother?
I wouldn't hurt their bicycle. I would stay away from them. And I would say to them, I don't want to have anything to do with you anymore.
I tried to.
No, you don't. He didn't. He went over to take his brakes off the bike that your little brother had destroyed. And why do you think that they have license to do that, the two little ones? They take their clue from you. Because if somebody isn't being normal, then you stay away from them. You don't take their property. You don't damage their property. You understand? Do you ever hear your older brother talk about him?
Yeah.
What does he say about him?
He says that he's a crackhead, a D-head.
So he says a lot of not nice things about him. You see where it's all coming from?
Yes. But I'm also aware of the fact that he goes around and calls my kids the same name.
In retaliation.
Not when he takes a 7-year-old's bike and hangs it on a 6-foot security fence where the 7-year-old cannot get it. And that's all because he was mad because Brian was not home that day.
Was the bike damaged?
Yeah, the chain broke.
Was it fixed?
Yes, we have...
Where are the brakes for his bicycle?
Brian gave them back to Devin.
Do you have them
Torn
back?
apart and damaged.
What?
They were not torn apart when Brian took them off the bike. I know because I saw him do it. They were in perfectly good condition. They could have been replaced on the bike, but Devin wouldn't let him near the bike to do so.
Okay, did you take the bike in to have it fixed?
No.
Did I put new brakes on the bike?
No, I hadn't even had the chance. When
Well,
he
then
came
you
and
should
did
have the
that.
chance to do it. How much did you pay for the bike?
$65 on sale.
I think you ought to take the bike and have it fixed, and I think you could probably have it fixed for $25, which is what I'm awarding you at a judgment, not the $1,500 that you're asking for. I would suggest you stay away from each other. Did you hang up his bike on a chain link fence?
No.
You didn't? So we couldn't reach it?
It was like a short fence, not a high one.
You can't do that, young man. But you three boys have to leave him alone. If he's weird, stay away from him. Period. And they don't want to play with you anymore. Find somebody else to play with.
Okay.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $25. That's all. Goodbye.
Parties are excused, you miss. Parties in the matter of Rodriguez versus Rodriguez. Step forward, please.
Office assistant Sophia Rodriguez is suing her brother, warehouse technician Jose Rodriguez, for a lien that was put on her house. Jose says he's not responsible.
Ms. Rodriguez, the defendant is your brother.
Yes, yes.
According to your complaint, about 5 years ago, your brother was having some financial trouble, and he was about to lose his house. Is that right, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
And you agreed, and he agreed, that he would turn the house over to you, add your name to the mortgage, and it would be your house, turn the title over to you, which he did. Is that right?
That's correct, Your Honor.
At the time you did this, there was no money exchanged between the two of you. Is that right?
That is correct.
Well, just recently you wanted to take out a second mortgage or
Refinance the house.
refinance the house. And you found out that there was an encumbrance on the house, that he had taken out another loan on the house more than 5 years ago, at a time when he still owned the house. And you are suing him for that money. How much of a loan did he take out?
It came out to $2,168 roughly, approximately.
Okay, so about $2,200. And that was a lien on the house, is that right?
Right.
Right? That existed before he gave it to you,
Correct.
that you didn't know about.
That is correct, Your Honor.
Your Honor, she did know about it.
She says she didn't know about it. When did you take out this second loan, sir, on the house?
I got this loan initially when I bought the house. It was included in the closing costs. And
The down payment on the house, how much was that?
God, it's been so long I don't remember. It has to probably about $2,800 maybe total.
And you didn't put down any money.
No, she didn't.
I did not.
So why are you complaining?
I'm not complaining. I assumed the loan. When I assumed the loan, we went to the notary person, and she asked, is there any secondary loans other than 57 or 54, whatever the balance of the mortgage is? And he says no. So he signed, and I have the proof that he signed, I signed, and that's all there is showing. 5 years go by, I want to refinance the house because the payment's too high, and they're telling me I cannot refinance until $1,700 needs to be paid.
That's why you do a title search.
Right. If I may, Your Honor.
That's why you do a title search, Miss Rodriguez. That's why when you buy a house, you have a company, because once there is a lien on the house, that is noticed to the whole world, including you, because you're part of the world, that there is a lien on the house. And if you chose to cut corners and not do that, he's not responsible. That's your problem.
But I wasn't cutting corners. I was doing him a favor,
No, you weren't doing him a favor. Don't tell me you were doing him a favor. I would complain if I were you, because what's happened now is you got a house, you got it for $2,800 less than what your brother paid for it.
Minus 2 years that I lived there.
And he paid the mortgage for at least part of the 2 years before they were going to foreclose it. So he paid down part of the mortgage. So you're
Which I
ahead of
did
the game,
help
Miss
him.
Rodriguez. Hey, listen to me.
No, she didn't help me.
Shh.
Yes, ma'am.
Listen to me. You're ahead of the game. I don't know why you're complaining and why you would take your brother to court.
I didn't want to take him to court. I gave him several phone calls. I called him before I even submitted the papers to the court. My mom is in between. He knows that she's upstairs. She couldn't even come with me.
That's
just for
not
the
true.
fact that she's heartbroken.
She's not.
You
She
know,
shouldn't be
she's
heartbroken.
not- She is here with
Listen
me.
to me. She shouldn't be heartbroken. You should pay the $2,100 that is outstanding on this loan that he had to cover some of his closing costs. and refinance your house because the mortgage rates are much less now than they were before, which is why you're refinancing your house.
But if I would have known.
Listen to me. Which is much less. So you're going to be paying much less. You have a house. Your mother lives in the house with you?
Yeah, she's about to move out.
Good. Ms. Rodriguez, stop complaining.
thanks to
Pay the
What are
money.
you gonna
That's
do?
it.
No.
Goodbye.
Ooh.
Parties are excused.
Man, that kid was acting really weird yesterday. I should probably go check on him. Wait, Steve, what are you doing back so soon? Also, that's not your house.
Oh, right, of course. I was just looking for my sword, nothing more. I hope all is well here in the village.
That was strange. Huh, it seems like the kid is gone. Maybe that Herobrine attack scared him off. Wait, what is that? Oh my god, is that blood?
While Steve did his best to cover his tracks, it was already too late. The villager had caught on and followed the trail of evidence to the forest. The villager wasn't aware of what happened, but all he knew was that the villager kid might be in trouble.